Hello, 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 and welcome to a surprise podcast here at the TRC Podcast. Now, before this guy opens his mouth, I'm just going to get a few things out of the way, and then he can carry this whole show, like the whole way through, because I guarantee he's got enough content for the whole thing. But one thing I wanted to cover right at the top of the bat is, yes, it's weird. I'm here. I'm not at SEMA, which is a bummer for me because I did want to go, but I had a little case of like some sore throat, some sniffles and stuff, and I didn't want to put anybody else in the team at risk potentially for something. Turns out I later tested negative for COVID and strep, so no worries there. No problems. Anthony is safe in this room, but weekend wasn't going so hot for me. So to be safe, I opted out, and Nate went in my place to go down to SEMA to handle this week's festivities. So I'm looking forward to seeing some awesome pictures coming from the guys down there at the team. They're going to do a lot of different things, probably some lives and stuff too, but I'm happy someone down there knows how to handle a camera. So it's just a relief to me knowing we've got it in good hands down there. Nate, enjoy yourself. I don't think you've ever gone with us down there, so that's really cool. But enjoy. All right. So, with that out of the way, Anthony, welcome back.
Hey, what's going on? I can open my mouth now. That's good.
Well, yeah.
Man, it feels good to be back here
in
the podcast room. I can't believe it. I feel like I've been gone for years.
It kind of feels like it around here. It's been so quiet.
Yeah, everybody said that. They said it just felt really quiet, really calm, really relaxed, right? There wasn't a lot of munching sounds, a lot of food being eaten, things like that, right?
Way less food munching, way fewer odd questions just being asked around the office. Like, the vibe was definitely different. It's just not the same without you here. So,
thanks, Dane.
You know,
That's nice.
But I think the most recent thing on people's mind right now is probably the video they watched over the weekend.
Probably, yeah. That's
You want to start off by explaining what happened there?
I really don't want to explain that video.
Okay.
I really don't. I mean, it's pretty much it is exactly what you think it was. I mean, I may have burned through Dane's paint on his van. I mean, it's okay. It happens, right?
We survive. It's an old vehicle. I understand it's not going to be perfect.
Taking a racer wheel to some very thin paint and things.
Which is why we started the video, Levi and I, talking about, generally people always want to jump to the eraser wheel, but it's not always a great idea to go to that first. So try your other options, exhaust your other resources first, then the eraser wheel's an option if you're comfortable with that.
Exactly, yeah. So, anyways, hopefully you guys checked it out. It's fun. It's funny,
It is fun.
Don't watch it. Do watch it, whatever you'd like to do.
I tried the reverse psychology on it. It seemed like people actually clicked. I was happy to see nobody listened to my instructions of don't watch this video. People watch the video.
That's how it works, man.
Yeah.
So we got Dirk Do here saying nice week for all. Greetings from Germany.
Thank you,
Forced inductions. Wonder what's going on here. Adam thinks it's a trap. We got Paragon says that Anthony finally put some clothes on. That's very true. And then we got Sean here says congrats. Thanks, guys.
Nice.
So yeah, I got a lot to talk about
ahead, man.
in today's video.
What's been going on in your world away from here? How's it been?
Well, so. I guess this is the time to do this now because next week we're going to be talking about SEMA. We're going to be talking about how everything went.
All
so
SEMA talk.
The team is down there right now. This is kind of a surprise podcast, if you will. We weren't really planning on it.
Yeah, when we said it last week, we told you we weren't going to have any shows. Now that I'm here, though, that's changed.
Yeah.
So Anthony and I can help run things.
Gives us a little bit more time to play, right? And so yeah, the boys are down there, right? I mean, we have Nate, we have Levi, we have John, we have Josh, we have Jeff, we have Juan. I think that's everybody.
I think that's the team down there.
And they're down there at SEMA kicking butt, setting up the booth today is what they're doing.
They're going to Justin Day's right now, I think.
Oh, are they?
So
to go check on the car?
They're going to go hang out with Freddie and the car.
Ooh, I'm excited. So hopefully they'll start sending us some juicy content so we can start reposting some of this stuff because it's exciting. So. I am a little envious. I'm jealous. It's, SEMA's always, it's one of those special events, man. It's just a lot of fun. Very tiring, very fun though. So, all right. So jumping into this, right? You guys are probably, I think I left technically on a Thursday morning, so I wasn't here. I haven't been here for 2 Q&As, right?
Right. So you were here the day we did that Q&A a couple weeks prior, but when you left before the show.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. So I got like 2 weeks to catch up on, which is crazy. So as many of you guys probably know by now, I am a dad now. Crazy. Me, also a child, now has a child. What the heck?
Children have a child.
How does that work,
right?
So I mean, for like, honestly, like, and I said in the previous couple of videos, I mean, pretty much nobody knew I was having a baby. And
you kind of dropped that on them at the last minute. Some people picked up the clues here and there, but it was mostly you just kept to yourself until it was time.
Well, it's one of those things where I don't know. I still like to have a little bit of my own personal stuff, keep things close to me. And I share pretty much everything else here on the podcast. But I think this is one of those things where I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I'll wait till it gets closer to the end there. And then it got like really close. Then it got really close. And they're like, are you going to say something? I'm like, I think I probably should say something now. Yeah. So they're going to wonder why I'm gone for 2 weeks. Anyway, how this kind of all, I don't want to tell you how it all happened, right? But I'm sure you know how it happened. But
like, we don't need that much history. And David, to answer your question, I mentioned that at the very beginning of the stream, so go back and check that. But I want to let Anthony continue his story here.
Dane's going to be hanging out with me for the week, right? The week.
It's you and me, buddy.
But so it happened, and then 9 months later, right? We were expecting any day. So as of the last, I think, because I was here for 2 main shows ago, we were pretty much expecting any day. I mean, literally any day.
Could have gone.
And so what really happened is, I think it was Thursday. Thursday morning, 5:00 in the morning. It was 5:00 in the morning. Katie wakes me up and says, "Hey, it's happening. We're going. Water broke. Let's go to the hospital." I'm like, "Oh my God, okay." So we were so excited. We were so pumped. I mean, we're blasting music on the way there. We're pumped, getting excited, and because it's about dang time, right? Because the baby was about a week overdue. And we get down to the hospital. Everything's going good. We check in, and they check on her, do a couple quick checks. And they said, we're going to pull in like a piece of equipment here. We're going to do like an ultrasound, just another quick check, nothing to worry about. And after they do a couple of quick scans, I could like see what's going on the TV. And I'm like looking, and I'm like, that's a kind of a weird looking object at that area of the stomach. What's going on there? And then they kind of walk out, whisper a couple things to each other, and they come back in. They're like, all right, so some bad news is that, the baby has flipped the other way and is breached. But the good news is that you're having a baby today. And I'm like, wow, amazing. And Katie's like, well, basically it's a C-section. That's just an automatic one of those. And I was thinking maybe I'll be a dad. I'm like, so what? You thinking like 5-6 hours, go get her stuff, get set up. And they hand me the scrubs. And they're like, you're going to be a dad in 30 minutes. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. And basically took her back there. I had to sit in this chair kind of outside some doors. It was the most excited, most scared I've ever been in my entire life. I never thought I could feel that type of feeling. And it was just kind of, it was very nerve-wracking. And there was a couple little speed bumps they had to kind of get through. Is that apparently they're, I don't know if it's called a spinal tap or something like that. Basically, they have like, I don't know, whatever they do to numb the lower section or however that works. Apparently, the dang dispenser for the medicine that had morphine in it decided to stop working. And so,
it seems like that's such a trend between the folks I know who've had babies. They're always like, yeah, for some reason they're not able to give like the epidural or whatever they're doing. It just can't happen. Machine's not working, whatever the case is. Like, oh, sorry, we forgot the stuff, at this place where we have people having babies all the time.
So apparently this machine just stopped working. I'm like, what great timing for this to happen. And they're like, but it's okay. We're going to figure out another way for this to work out. And so they ended up doing kind of more like an isolated kind of stomach thing, numbing or whatever it was. And they said it's going to be fine, but they said that does suck because it makes the recovery just a little bit harder, in the following days. And so, but anyways, happened. Went back in the room there. Crazy. I just, a lot of tarps, a lot of people dressed up in a lot of scrubs. I had this full face mask thing off, and
the first 2 rows come with a waiver that says if you get hit, the audience, they're not responsible.
Yeah, it was just crazy. I like I said, there's so much adrenaline and so many feelings going on. But everything went great. Right, baby came out, saw her. And man, pretty much basically immediately started crying. I mean, it was the most like beautiful, crazy, scary, sad thing that's ever happened. It was it was super magical. And so basically everything went good there. They put us in another recovery room, and then they put us in our next hotel room, I guess you could say, 8th floor of the St. Luke's for the next 4 days, which was I was not expecting to be in a hospital for that long. And but after surgery, major surgery, right? Yeah. And all of that, that's just kind of what they need to do. So checked into our room, and it was about, again, 4 days, 3 nights there. And Katie's mom ended up coming pretty much right after that. They only allowed 2 people in the hospital, and the baby was happy and healthy. And it was the first, I guess the first couple nights was the wow, this is really.
Well, that was going to be my question for you. When did it finally click? Like, this is real. Not just like, oh no, I need to do something real, but like, I'm a dad now real.
I don't even know.
Do you have a moment that stuck out as like the moment?
I think, yeah. Like Levi said, the first couple of moments where you're going to be with the baby by yourself, be with her by yourself. I think that's when it starts to kind of click in. But to be honest, I mean, I was on an adrenaline high for like the first couple days, and just being like, super hyper aware and like hyper focused on everything. And but then after that, it was just, that's when the sleep deprivation started kicking in, right? And I hadn't been getting much sleep. But what was nice is, Katie's mom there was amazing in the hospital. Basically, we just took shifts, right? So we had like this little couch thing. I don't even call it a couch. They put like a mattress on it, but it wasn't like a mattress. It was like a gym mat, right? Very uncomfortable. And it was just, I don't know how to describe it, but we slept on that. Katie was up pretty much the entire time. She had stitches. She had all this stuff. And God bless her heart. The worst thing is that apparently when they were kind of prepping her stomach and all that, they put some type of gel or some type of cleaner. I don't know what the heck they did. But whatever it was, it caused an allergic reaction for her.
Oh, no.
And so her skin started to form this massive rash.
No.
So I'm like, not only have you been cut open, you have this massive rash, and now you have to feed this baby, learn how to do everything that involves, keeping this baby alive.
You kind of feel a little grumpy about that.
I felt so bad. But let's just say the hospital people, everybody was really nice. All the nurses were super nice. Everything. Everybody was just really, I don't know, really supportive, really nice. I just, I don't have anything bad to say. Everything went super good inside there. It's different. There's the age differences of people, right? Because of the nurses and the different levels of experience and everything like that. We found that a lot of the, younger nurses and stuff, they come into the room and they're very gentle, right? Like, how are you doing? What can I do for you? Can I get you anything? They're gentle, they're fast, they're able, I don't know how to describe it. They're
efficient.
They're efficient, but also, you can tell they're just very delicate, right? Most of the younger people there were delicate. However, the older nurses, right, the ones that have been doing this for quite some time, dude, they just like straight up just grab the baby, like flip it around. They swaddle it like in seconds, and I'm kind of like, careful there.
I'm picturing like truck stop diner waitress intensity.
Yeah, kind of. And so
she's seen all this stuff before. Yeah, whatever. It's a baby. It's cool. Okay, did a little somersault there, and boom, you got a baby. Cool.
I'm like, get that California duster off that perfect paint.
You're scratching the baby.
What are you doing? You're be more gentle with what you're doing. They're like, don't trust us.
Speaking of supportive, there were several comments telling you, hey, I hope you're doing well, and that was really nice to see. Thank you, Rod,
you very much.
Everybody else there.
Yep. And so it's just funny, right? The people that are a little bit more experienced, but like, trust us, the babies are more resilient than what you think. But I'm like, are they? Because they're so small. But
Very malleable. You got to be careful with that.
She came in at 7 pounds, 0.5 ounces, so almost 7 pounds exactly. So she's small. She's tiny. Well, I don't know. Tiny in my tiny hands is what it still felt like. And but she didn't have that. She didn't have that much hair. She had a little bit of hair. And I'm trying to think. She had some skin peeling, getting out of that, living in that amphibious life, right? Going to, living in the open air. So she had a little bit of skin peeling and things like that. But overall, the other thing I want to know is she had nails, right? Like she had straight up like fingernails.
Got the keratin already going.
And she loved touching her face, right? Huh. So she would like this. We had to like strap her hands down, put little things on her hands because she kept scratching at her face, and she doesn't know her own, what she's doing. So poor thing, she gave herself a couple scratches, and we put mittens on her. And we got a little nail shaver and stuff. But the first couple days in the hospital, we're just
a dog cone on her.
Yeah, it was just a lot of sitting there looking at the baby. I did a couple errands right throughout a couple days there. Tried to get out, went and got food, and let's just say the hospital food, right? Wouldn't call it a 5-star restaurant by any means.
Hospital.
I understand.
I know
that,
there's
Dane,
some that are nicer, but
the meatballs that came with the spaghetti and meatballs, right? They taste like Vienna sausages. And I'm like, I don't think a meatball should taste like
You're like, wait a second.
Vienna sausage.
They just squished it into a sausage shape instead.
So
IKEA could do a better job, huh?
But yeah. So, but it was crazy, man. A lot of babies being had. Trust me. They said that they were super busy. A lot of people having babies. They said this is kind of like a big boom because everybody came out of 2020 that had been waiting for so long and thought, okay, 2021, let's do it.
Were bored during 2020.
And yeah, a lot of people got bored and keep warm during the winter months, right? And it started booming. So they said that they were really busy, and it was just interesting because a lot of people would come in and out of the hospital because of the C-section. We were there for like 4 days, and they were like, "You're still here? Day 3, day 4, you're still here? I'm like, "Yeah, I'm still here." We're excited to go home, and so finally, once they gave us a clean bill of health on both of them, we were able to get packed up. But I was very much looking forward to getting home. Like I missed my dogs, but I missed being at home, and I felt like everybody else is saying it wasn't really going to feel real until I get that baby home. And so that first drive after we got everything packed up, got her in her car seat and everything, it was definitely different. It was it's just like you feel like you're driving with the most prized, precious cargo in the world, and you're like, okay, I gotta drive safe. People are speeding past me, and I'm like, what the hell?
Calm down.
I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing? Calm down. Stop going so fast. Don't you know I have a baby in this car? No, they don't know that.
That's why they made those little yellow stickers, baby on board.
Right. And so basically, I'd say right when I got home, we walked through the doors for the first time, I was just happy to just be in somewhere familiar, because when you're taking care of a baby in a hospital, especially in a cramped room when you have 3 people and 4 people in there, it feels really small, and you feel like it's not really real yet, because you're thinking, okay, this baby is just a here thing, right?
Exactly. It's like what those guys are saying. It doesn't feel real. To them, they said it didn't feel real until they got home, where you're in a familiar environment, but you have said new thing.
Yeah.
Or person in this case.
And so I mean, basically, it was just definitely a different feeling, walking through the doors at home. And so we got all set up though, and at that point, the plan was Katie's mom was going to stay with us for basically 2 weeks, right? I had 2 weeks off, and then Katie doesn't have to go back to work until the first of the year, actually. So she's got plenty of time off. But the hard part was,
I was going to ask how the dogs.
So the dogs were pumped.
Oh, okay.
They were
so
very.
It wasn't a problem.
Yeah, no problems at all. Golden Retrievers, Dane. They're beautiful. The beautiful family
I grew
dogs.
Up with one. Love them.
It's kind of like they knew though. Like right when I walked through the door, they kind of like knew what was going on. They've been knowing what was going on, and they came up, licked the top of her head, and were calm as could be. So I was like, okay, so they know that this baby was coming, obviously, and. I'm trying to think. So from there, the plan, 2 weeks. Yep. Katie's mom was going to be staying there helping out with us. I can't imagine I couldn't imagine not having somebody there, right? She was such a huge help for the few days in the hospital as well as being at home, because it kind of takes an army at that time, because, Katie was recovering and her recovery is going to take a little bit longer because, again, she had that horrible reaction, allergic reaction, and then she also had the surgery, and then she has to stay awake because she's been so sleep deprived as well. And it was hard for her because those at the hospital, they come in every hour. For the first couple days. It's like 30 minutes, then it's every hour, then it's every 2 hours, but it's always like, hey, just coming in, thermometer check, IV check, this check, this check, this check, this check, and constant.
Okay, now sleep for 29 more minutes.
Yeah. I'll see you here in 30 minutes. I'll see you here in an hour. Okay. All right. So, yeah, I think that right when we got home, though, everything felt just really nice. I mean, it felt a lot less stressful, and the baby was feeding good. She learned how to breastfeed here like within the first day or two, which was really good. And so we were happy that she was able to figure that out, because she liked sucking on her bottom lip, and then because she liked sucking on her bottom lip, her tongue would kind of like what are you doing? Like your tongue is on the roof of your mouth. Bring it down naturally. And so yeah, I think it was the first night. I think it was like the first night at home. That was when I think it really the emotional attachment really kicked in, because when I was with the baby alone, in the nursery, and just kind of sitting there rocking her at her, looking at her, definitely hit me really hard, and I was like, dang, man. And I started crying, and I'm like this is it's a feeling of happiness that you can't really, I don't know how else to describe. It's just like the craziest thing. It's kind of
euphoria.
Because you sit there and you look at this thing that you created that is a part of you and also a part of her mom, and it's just a total you don't really get it. You don't really get it. I'm saying
no.
You don't. People in general don't really get it, and all the dads will tell you, "Oh, your life's gonna change once you have a baby. You'll start thinking differently, or maybe you'll start doing this." Because I was like, "Yeah, whatever." Levi's been trying to tell me stuff for
just waiting for you to suddenly comment and say that New Balances are actually cool.
I'm like, guys, I get it. It's fine. I'm gonna be a dad. I understand, right? Well, until it's there. It is definitely a completely different feeling than I thought it was going to be, and it's crazy, right? And basically, because you're like, okay, I have to keep this thing alive, right? I have to love this thing as much as I can, and
it's a child, not a goldfish.
Just wonder. I mean, you just wonder what's next. So for the next, I'd probably say for the next week or several days, it was. Still no sleep, a lot of sleep deprivation, only really sleeping a couple hours at a time. And I was telling the guys here in the office, I'm like, I went to music festivals, I went and partied in Vegas for days on end. I've done all sorts of crazy stuff in my 20s that, have knocked me out or has made me so tired that, I could barely even function. But those don't even hold a candle to how tired I was for these couple weeks, and this is what ages people, man. So when people are like, how does a guy go from looking like a kid in his 20s or his 30s to a dad, right? How do you get the dad look? How does that happen? It happens in these first probably several months because of how tired you are, and and everything else. That's where I think the wrinkles form. And then from standing all day, right? You're standing, rocking a baby to sleep, or just holding her, holding him. That's when your feet start to hurt, right? So you think, wow, what are some comfortable shoes? And then you look on Google and like New Balances, those seem pretty comfortable, right? Brooks running shoes, those seem pretty comfortable, right? Like that's how the transformation happens. And then you're like, well, gosh, I'm not cold enough for jeans, but I'm also not hot enough for, if I have to run an errand, maybe I'll wear jean shorts, right?
Yeah,
that
good
sounds
old
pretty
jorts.
nice. Well, and then I've kind of been gaining some weight because I've been eating a little bad.
Building that dad bod.
Maybe a nice graphic tee, right?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a graphic tee was something
For a band that was popular in my youth.
big enough, maybe like a Superman t-shirt or something like that,
Okay.
right? This is my other shirt. That and a hat and you're pretty much set. It's crazy. Like honestly, I could see it happening as I was standing there, and I'm like, oh, this is how this happens.
Transformation is happening,
Like
and
looking-
I don't know about it.
I'm like looking in the mirror. I'm like, is my hair growing thicker? Or my crow's feet growing a little bit wider? I'm like.
Look, your hair starts transferring from up here down to here.
Yeah.
It just does the old switcheroo.
I'm like, is my hairline receding a little bit more? What's going on right now? Yeah, definitely a weird feeling. But no, first couple days was great because we had food coming in because I guess Katie's work had like a food train, which was sweet, and they were bringing all sorts of meals. And so I think in the first couple days we got like 4 or 5 boxes of pizza, which is insane.
Jeez.
And then like chip cookies and then all sorts of other, little goodies.
Oh, all the
and
good stuff.
which was great because we really hadn't been eating that much. I mean, we were eating in the hospital, but again, you're kind of like, running on a high. You're not really eating as much. So then I started eating a ton because I'm like, okay, I want to catch up on some food. But here's the problem. You're not moving, right?
No.
You're not really getting any exercise. You're eating and then you're sitting down. And I think
sedentary lifestyle.
yeah, and it's hard to explain because while, yes, you still can go technically do things if somebody else is watching the baby, you have to just kind of be there, right? Because I could walk into a room and Katie could be, feeding the baby, and then 30 seconds later, she could be nodding off and falling asleep, right? And at that point, I'm like, oh, give me that baby, right? And then I could pass it off to Katie's mom, and Katie's mom could be holding the baby, sit down on the couch, then she starts nodding off. So it's kind of like everybody is freaking tired, and it's just a matter of how long can you hold that baby before falling asleep. And then the other person grabs it.
Yeah, you take shifts.
It's just like that. It's a vicious cycle. It just happens for 24 hours a day.
Scott's got a point.
UK Cut 3.0. Yes. No, I definitely need to. I honestly didn't even want to weigh myself before coming into work today because I'm like, I know I'm probably pretty big right now, and I don't want to face that reality just yet. So,
Fair.
But yeah, a lot of food, man. A lot of food. And we don't want to waste it. I'm not a waster, Dane. I eat everything because, growing up in a European household, we don't waste food. You save that or you eat it. And so I ate just a ton of food and trying to think. I mean, I didn't get to go anywhere for the first couple of days, and I think it was like on day 4. I think day 4, I said, "Okay, Katie, I'm going to go run and grab your prescription stuff. I'm going to go around a couple errands, but it's a nice day out. I think I'm going to take my motorcycle." So I jumped on the BMW.
Nice.
And
perfect weather.
Went out. Well, it was funny, Dane. Started that thing up, and it had a little bit of a slow start. That's okay, right? It hasn't been started in a while. It's okay. Slow start. Went out for a cruise. Went to the first stop. Turned it off. Next start was a little bit slower. Okay. Went to a gas station, filled it up. Next start was a little bit slower than that.
How's the battery?
And that's when I started cruising around a little bit more. And then I got to like this final gas station because I was going to call Katie and say, hey, they didn't have your prescription at that Walgreens. I'm going to go to another one, but I couldn't hear, so I turned off the bike. And I'm at this gas station, and the bike wouldn't turn on. And I'm like, oh, no. That's not good, right? Because I got this newborn at home. Katie needs her medicine.
Yep.
And I'm like, this bike's not turning on.
Situations like this is how dads end up losing their toys. They're like, all right, honey, you can no longer have that motorcycle. It's a liability.
So So people at the gas station, they're walking by. Hey, is everything okay? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, just my BMW bike here is just having some electrical issues. They like look at me and they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. Is that surprising to you?
No, what happened was you're driving that thing, you're starting it constantly, but you're not driving it long enough to put load on the battery to let it build up charge. So you're just using up what's there when it's been sitting for a while.
Well, so
at least
when it started up, I was getting, my voltage was like 14.6, right? So it was which is good.
Yeah.
However, the startup, it needs to have like over 12 volts to start up.
Yeah.
I think what happened is because it was sitting for so long without being ridden or even
like
started up.
9 is probably where you were.
I have no idea. But it wasn't starting up, but I also added like 2 more electrical things. I added an entire another gauge part on it.
True.
And I added a light that takes quite a bit of power. So I was at the gas station for an hour. I tried running and jump starting my bike, clutch in, clutch out on it, right?
Yeah.
But on a 1200cc bike, it doesn't work like that, right?
Oh.
It's very hard. You have to get up a lot of speed to get that thing to kick over. So I was freaking out.
I go over by the temple on the hill, and you're like, "Here we go."
I call Katie and I say, "Hey, I'm like, so I don't really know what to do right now." She's like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "What's your plan?" And I'm like, well, I'm about 1.5 miles away from home. I could always walk the bike home. But, like, this is ridiculous for me to be able to call an insurance company and say, hey, come pick up my bike. Or not insurance, but my, the tow truck company. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I've never had a bike towed. And I also don't have a jumper pack on me. And because it's a stupid BMW, the battery, the only way to get the battery out is by removing the tank. You have to remove the entire...
Not the seat, but
the
tank?
You have to remove the entire freaking thing.
Because they figure, you're never going to need in here.
And then they're like, you want to jump start your bike? Yeah, so here's your positive charge up here where your positive terminal. And then you have to ground the bike. A good ground is somewhere off to the side of the bike on a piece I removed because I needed to fit a different thing. So I couldn't even jump start if I wanted to. So I sat there for about 30 minutes thinking, what can I possibly do? I unplugged all of the electronics and lights.
Oh, no.
Literally everything. I unplugged the taillights. I unplugged the clusters. I unplugged everything. And I'm thinking, if I can get one good start on this, let's do it. And you know what? That freaking thing cranked over, dude.
Look at that.
I could not believe it. I was like, oh my God. I plugged everything back in, rode home, battery tender. So I'm assuming the battery's either tired or it's just I need to keep that thing on a tender because of just it's an old school style battery. So, but anyway, that was like my only adventure out and probably my last adventure for a couple days.
Yeah, that's going to cost you a little bit.
And so what I ended up doing, I spent a lot of downtime in between holding the baby or while I'm holding the baby or just, getting around the house, playing a lot of Diablo too. Like I said, I was playing a lot of Nintendo Switch. So do you want me to tell people how many hours I put into that in 2 weeks? I'm embarrassed to say it.
I mean, you weren't doing much else.
But I probably should just say it. So I have over 160 hours I have played that game.
Dang.
160. Is that too many?
You're looking after a baby and you're just trying to like multitask a little bit so your brain doesn't totally turn to ooze. But
yeah. Well, the thing was I needed to do something. I couldn't just watch TV because I'd fall asleep, right? So I needed something that could keep me up. And so that it was more engaging. It kept me up and I needed to feel like I was doing something. So 160 hours playing Nintendo Switch.
That's not nothing.
I started getting carpal tunnel.
Oh,
my hands. Like everything was cramping up, right? Like my actual forearms were cramping up.
Make like wrist protectors for that.
So I told Katie like through the first week, I'm like, I'm ordering a comfort grip for my Nintendo Switch. And she's like, are you freaking kidding me? You've been playing that so much that you need a comfort grip? I'm like, yeah, my forearms are really, really, really hurting. Yes, Tom Kirby, this is a surprise. I'm back here hanging out with everybody. And so I played a lot of that. And then the other big thing too is I was on the hunt for, not on the hunt. I am genuinely wanting another fun project car, right?
Yeah.
Something that's...
You got the bug.
I got the bug right now, and wintertime is coming up, and I want something that I can have a little bit of fun with, when I'm not, taking care of the baby. Like, I need something just to kind of wrench on right now because at this point, I I don't know. I mean, I'm still going to have to take care of a baby, but I'm thinking like my therapy time, I need it to be something that is going to be productive and keep me moving, that is not sitting. Right?
Yeah, you want to be able to like break a sweat a little bit.
Dude,
but still be in like line of sight with the baby so you can help if need be.
Correct. Yeah. So I can't sit on the couch anymore, man. I'm starting to lose my mind. And that's why I've been standing all day at work. I haven't been sitting for very long. I've been needing to stand. And so basically I would like to pick up another car. So I've been on the search for some things. And what was really funny is that I'm on there looking at everything, and I actually see a Civic Type R, 2019 Civic Type R pop up on like Facebook Marketplace or something like that. It was being sold by one of the rebuilt title places, right? So it's a 2019 Civic Type R rebuilt title for
and
here it is.
Those are going for big money
for
right now.
Then they're asking $35,000, right? And I'm like, dang, that's still quite a bit of money. But
compared to
all the 40-something, $50-something $1,000 Civic Type Rs, that's still a pretty good deal. I'm like, I wonder how bad, this accident was, right? So I ended up reaching out to him and saying, hey, I want a little bit more info on the Civic Type R because it's local to me, which is cool. It's red, which is cool. So I'm kind of interested, but obviously I'd want to work with you maybe a little bit better on pricing. But at the same time, this could be something that could be a cool dad vehicle, and because it's a rebuilt title, I may not care about it as much, and I could still sell it for maybe just a fraction less than maybe what I bought it for in a couple of years or however long I have it. I have no idea. And the people are like, yeah, no, it had a minor front end collision.
Oh, minor.
And they said, yeah, just a couple things. They said it looks like the bumper was replaced, the hood and a fender. Looks like one of the suspension components need to be replaced as well. But they said overall, though, they said
minor as I would.
They said just minor, just front end stuff. It happens all the time. I mean, obviously all the cars we sell here are rebuilt title stuff. Okay. So it's usually cosmetic things, and those things are meant to be replaced. It's nothing to worry about. Oh, okay. I think that, come down, drive it. You're going to love it. And, we'll get you set up with a good deal and all this stuff. And I said, okay, so do you have any photos or anything like this of this front end collision? They said, yeah, so what we'll have you do is just go onto the website. You can just take the VIN number and then punch it into Google, and you'll see the accident that was in because it'll pull up.
Oh,
so I was like,
that's a minor fender bender?
So I pull this up and I go, is that the same car?
For a car known for its front wheel drive prowess, handling prowess, that's going to leave a mark? Holy, okay.
Minor front end collision, and then not only
I'm not going to trust any dealer that tells me it was in a minor fender
and
bender.
then they stripped the seats and they threw crappy SI seats into there.
Those aren't even Type R seats.
They ripped the wing off the back. But I'm talking like this is a horrible accident.
I mean, the wing's back on it in this picture. This is the picture they're selling it with?
Yes.
So that's what people... Okay.
So anyways, they obviously got it fixed up. But I'm like, dude, that is like the worst accident I've ever seen from a car that was brought back, right? That car shouldn't have been brought back.
Well, I mean, Freddie's got a pretty good example of one down at our booth at SEMA if you want to see that.
How do I say this? A Civic shouldn't be brought back.
Okay, right.
A McLaren, yeah, that can be brought back. But yeah, so pretty bad. So anyway, I'm like, I'll pass on that. So I ended up actually I looked at another Integra. There was an Integra 2000 Acura Integra.
Was that the one you were asking me to help with? Okay.
Yeah, 4-door. It was automatic. And
but you were thinking you could do like a little swap-a-roo on it.
I was thinking I'd do like a trans swap on it. But I went and looked at it. Honestly, it wasn't a bad car. It was probably the... hold on, agreed. Not a minor front end collision had it been the rear. Yeah,
a front wheel drive car, it would be a lot better if it happened to the rear and not the front.
I don't even know. At that case, I mean, but just like that's the whole point of that car is being a great front wheel drive car, and when the entire front end is smashed in.
But you're saving $20,000 over what anybody else is asking for it, except you got a branded title. So
no thanks.
That's not.
Yeah, not no thanks
for long term.
But I went and checked out an Integra. It was just a little. It was fine. It just the color, everything about it was just the least desirable.
Which is why it was for sale.
It was just the least desirable of every option it could possibly have.
How much was that one going for?
Like $2,000, but
pretty cheap.
It was pretty cheap, but it had the valves needed a serious adjustment on there.
Oh,
there was a little bit of valve lash coming, and the car had some overheating issues, and it needed a new thermostat and things like
non-VTEC.
Non-VTEC.
Okay.
And so it just wasn't... I thought, like... I mean, I'd put wheels on it and lower it, and that would be it. There wasn't much more that could be done to it, and it had clear coat failure all over the roof and the trunk and stuff. So I passed on that as well. But I just kept looking, and I'm still looking. Didn't find anything. But between playing Diablo, watching countless Halloween-themed movies, shows, everything, and searching for cars, I pretty much just kept busy. I've changed more diapers than Katie has.
Ooh.
I felt pretty proud of that. Not that it's a bragging thing.
It's not a competition.
It's not a competition. Honestly, she needs to get as much rest as she possibly can. I'm just trying to be a good dad and a good husband.
She's the one who got cut.
Yeah. So, but I've been changing a ton of diapers, so I'm trying to get all my practice in. I've gotten really damn good at it, and it's, how do I say? I mean, it's basically like a whole I don't know. It's a learning experience, but somehow it feels weirdly like this is like natural. Like the caring for a child feels very natural to me. I think it's because it's my own. Because if somebody else were to hand me a baby that wasn't mine, I might feel more uncomfortable.
You feel a little awkward. Because anytime somebody, like you're at a baby shower or some other thing, or somebody's like, oh, they have a baby around, they hand it to you and you're just like, I can't.
I don't know.
I can't do anything. I'm so scared if I'm the one who damages this baby.
Yeah.
That's just terrifying, especially because it's someone else's. It's just fragile. Do not break. But when it's yours, you're like, okay, I'm comfortable. I can, tolerate this. Yeah. But at the same time, it is kind of a weird experience knowing you have a baby now. So your responsibility starts to set in. But I imagine instinctual stuff kicks in to where you're just like, nope, this is second nature now. I don't have to think about it. I just do.
Yeah. So it is very much instinctual, but I don't know. And the other thing too is that it's your baby, right? So when other people hand you a baby, you're like, I can't really kiss this thing. I can't really love on it because that's weird, right? Especially if it's a friend's or something. Maybe if it's a family member's, it's okay. But because it's your own, you can actually love on it, and it feels a lot more natural. But we had just a couple family members come see her. My sister came, and it's funny because she is she was a little more awkward than I thought she was going to be, because she's like, oh, this is a little baby, and she's like, I'm her aunt, but she's kind of holding her I'm like, Caitlin, you were like the baby. You had all the baby dolls when you were a kid, and you were definitely super motherly. And
those don't move.
Handing her a baby, she was kind of a little bit more like, oh man, this is kind of scary and kind of crazy. But I don't know. I think that once you kind of you start, they're not as fragile as what you think they are. But it is definitely weird when you're holding their little hands, their little feet, and their little arms, and you're like, how are you so strong yet so small at the same time? And they don't
Jello with a face and muscles.
Well, they don't know what's going on with their hands, so they're sitting there, and they're they hit their face, and you're like, why are you hitting yourself? I'm like, they don't know they're doing that. They just reaction.
Yeah.
And so no, we did that, and I would say though the biggest thing is that I need to definitely become a little bit more active right now. I need to start doing a little bit more stuff, because when you get in that cycle of sitting, eating, you just get more tired, right?
Yeah.
And you get more exhausted, and you're just kind of screwing yourself over a little bit. So I tried to get out and do as much stuff as I could. I was able to wash my car, which was nice. I needed to wash something. I needed to get outside and do something like that. So let's see, honorable mentions in terms of movies and TV shows.
Yeah, what all did you watch in that time? You got any reviews for us? Because I got one or two I watched, but I know you probably went through a bunch.
I think I watched 5 or 6 series. I watched probably 20 movies. It was all Halloween stuff though, because we were
okay. You were
Katie's
keeping
mom
it in theme.
Is really into Halloween, so she likes watching scary stuff too, and so we watched a ton of Halloween movies and a ton of just kind of themed things. I don't know. Like we in terms of movies, we watched. There's a newer one that has Megan Fox in it that we watched yesterday. It was like she gets. I don't know what the heck it was. I think Jimmy should watch it since he's in love with her. And
he is.
But what we watched that. I watched a Megan Fox movie, and then I watched all of like the newer releases. I watched the one, the Tomorrow's War or whatever it is.
Oh, the Tomorrow War. Yeah, that came out a few months ago.
Yeah,
it's okay. It's
not great.
It's just
not great. Yeah.
No.
I tried watching Infinite from Paramount Plus. Made it about 40 minutes into that, and I was like, man, Mark Wahlberg, not his best. And I mean, I watched a ton of stuff. I can't think for the life of me, probably because I'm so tired.
Did you watch Army of Thieves?
Army of Thieves.
Because I did, and it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Is it a movie?
So
what is it?
A few months ago, a movie came out called Army of the Dead, and it was on.
Yes,
it was a Zack Snyder film. Set in Vegas, and it was all zombies and stuff. Well, one of the characters in it, you watched that, right?
So I didn't watch it, but I saw it on the thing.
So this is related to it, but kind of not. Mm-hmm. It's a prequel, and I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody, but it's one of the characters, the locksmith character, and it's a whole like prequel with him, and it's a totally different kind of movie. It's not a horror movie. It's actually more like a heist movie, and it's actually really enjoyable. Like I'm not going to say
what's his name, right? From
the German
the
guy. No, it's not.
Not him. Okay, different guy.
No, this is different. He's a guy I haven't seen before, but apparently he's like a good actor back in Germany and stuff. So he's great. And he directs this movie, so it's interesting. But no, I would actually give it a lot of praise. Is it the best movie I've ever seen? No, but it's fun. It's like a fun, and heist movies, I'm kind of a sucker for those anyway, so I enjoy it. And then it's him and the gal who played the Daenerys' handmaiden in Game of Thrones. Natalie Emmanuel. No, she's great in it too. But no, like the movie's fun, and it's just on Netflix. Anybody can go watch it.
Okay.
So it's I would recommend it if you're looking for something that doesn't suck.
I got plenty more time to watch.
I would say watch Army of the Dead first. I'll be honest, I didn't like Army of the Dead as much. That one's got Bautista in it. But that one I didn't enjoy as much. But Army of Thieves I actually enjoyed more. But it gives you a little more perspective on it if you watch Army of the Dead first. However, I will say, Army of Thieves, if you're not into zombie stuff, you can watch Army of Thieves by itself, and it's still a fun movie.
Cool. Yeah. What else? Okay. Have you ever seen the movie called The Body?
The Body. I've seen The Host, but not The Body.
The Body's pretty great, right?
Okay.
Basically, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but all it is, it's let's just say it's a guy, it's a hitman who he does a job, right? Wraps up a body, happens to be on Halloween, walks downstairs, gets invited to a party because everybody thinks it's part of his outfit, his costume. Oh. They're like, best costume ever. You got the body and everything. And it's this guy after killing somebody who now has to like go through all these events through the night.
That honestly sounds awesome.
With this body and all these people thinking that it's part of his costume.
Okay. That's somebody came up with that concept like at the back of a party, like, wouldn't it be funny if, and they just come up with a
Guillermo's in it from What We Do in the Shadows.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great.
There's a couple other guys in there too as well, but it's just funny. It's just a good concept. Cause like, that's hilarious that he
that sounds like a fun
has
movie.
To figure out how to get through this. It's a funny slasher kind of movie like that.
Yeah, horror comedy kind of thing. Yeah.
But no, we watched a ton of other movies, and then I think that I don't know. The one that we got hooked on. I'm kind of embarrassed to say. So they made a remake of I Know What You Did Last Summer, but it is the Gen Z version, right? God. Dane, it is so I can't even tell you how.
Is it just like being surrounded by Jimmys?
Yes, it was literally a show made for his age group because I'm watching this, looking at these kids. they're like doing all these things that kids should not be doing. And I'm like, I didn't do that in high school. Is that what kids are doing in high school nowadays?
Now you really are turning into a dad.
I'm like, I don't support this behavior at all. What's going on in here? But we got hooked on it because they definitely hook you in it. But it's got 3 stars on, I think, on Netflix or Amazon, whatever the heck it's on.
So it's right down the middle, mediocre.
Yeah, so it's not good, but it's so bad that it's kind of good. But all the verbiage that they use, like all just the language, it's all the Gen Z stuff. It's a lot of bet. It's a lot of no cap. It's all of this other stuff. And I'm just thinking about Jimmy the entire time. I'm like, man, his people probably love this. And
or they hate it because they're like, oh, we can't use any of those words anymore because now the olds have gotten it.
High key, low key, right?
Yeah. No, if they made the show and they're saying these things, okay, that's out. We got to come up with a whole new vernacular. TikTok, let's do our thing.
Yeah. Oh, he big mad. He little mad. Like all these stupid things. I'm like, oh, this is the worst, but I'm into it.
Oh, no.
I'm trying to think if there's any other notable things. We did get newborn photos several days after, and we were very unsure of whether or not we wanted to do that because they're not cheap, man. Yeah. I did not know how much that was going to cost because
who took them?
It's called BC Photography, not to be confused with Bart Cepek Photography.
Okay.
It's just called BC. It's a lady that does it. She has a studio. It's beautiful. It's very like her style is very much like what how do you say the
contemporary?
Yeah, I don't know. It's literally this backdrop in wood just everywhere.
So what you're saying is it looks like it would be framed on the shelf in like an Etsy store or something.
Yeah, pretty much. And but we shopped around just
reclaimed
to see,
wood.
Well, we shopped around to see what prices were for newborn photos, and I'm thinking like, well, I think I might quit the rag company.
I'm just gonna take pictures of babies all day.
For a photographer because it's insane. And because how that works is you buy the product, right? And then you get the digital image with it, right? If you buy the product. And the products happen to be starting at several $100s, right? Yeah. So depending on how many products you buy, you get the images with it. You can't just get the digital copies. It doesn't work like that, right?
No.
So
not unless you're paying like Aunt Ethel to come over and take pictures. Like, we got your pictures. But if you want lighting and framing and like proper vignetting and everything, okay, we're hiring a pro.
Yeah. And so we were unsure of whether or not we wanted to do that because we were just taking photos with our phones, and like I have like my camera at home. I took a couple photos, but honestly, it's kind of hard, man. Like newborns, it's like the same thing it's like taking pictures of a puppy. Unless they're sleeping, it's impossible.
Constant movement.
So we went and did that, and it was like a several-hour session, basically just getting the baby to where she's tired, and then they dress her up, put her in all these different backdrops. Like my child was in a little Moses basket. I'm like, don't send my baby down the river. Don't you do that. Oh, Crystal Ball Levi. Well,
it's not October anymore, so we don't have any more crystal balls. That's why.
His spirit has
unfortunately, Yoshi. Sorry.
Into
We're
Vegas.
thinking of some ideas for future holidays, though. So don't say no just yet. We got some options.
We got some fun stuff coming. But we got these newborn photos taken, right? And while we were doing it, they were like, all right, Anthony, come over here because now what we're going to have you do is you are going to hold her in your hand, but she's gonna be naked, and you're gonna be holding her like this white shirt on, and I'm standing back in behind this backdrop here, and they're like, just hold her nice and still, and then next thing you know, I started feeling a little bit of a warmth happening there, and then my socks started getting wet. I'm like, are you kidding me? She's peeing on me, right? Like, and everybody starts dying laughing, and they're like, Anthony, they're like, hey, it's okay, hold her still, this is perfect, right? And they're like, think about it, it could be worse. I'm like, oh, really? And then 10 seconds later.
Never, ever say that in a situation where things could get worse,
right?
Because they will.
In the palm of my hand, it starts happening, and I am like, oh, thinking what I'm thinking. I'm like, no way, right?
Nope.
And they're like, hold her still. Don't freak out.
Hold the line.
So yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
stab powers are activated, right?
Wow.
Reflexes, everything has
Yep.
been activated. I'm moving faster, right? And, thinking a little clearer. And no, so that was pretty much it. I mean, then this last week right here, the last week I would say it got easier, but it didn't. It just, it was a lot more sleepless nights, a lot of different shifts. Just trying to do everything we can to get any bit of sleep that we can, but also still be normal functioning humans.
Sure. Yeah.
Around everything. So I want to thank everybody that, there's a lot of people that sent meals to us and stuff, which was super nice. Those were really helpful. And then, obviously Katie's mom for really helping out a lot and bringing us, just being there. And then just, I don't know, just everybody that was just kind of supportive in one way, shape, or form, right? Everything kind of helps in that situation. You don't really know what helps until it's handed to you and you think, oh, this is going to help you. Oh, yeah. It does help. Katie did a good job planning everything, like all the diapers, all of the changing stations, all of the different things that she did, all like worked fluidly. It was perfect. Everything, I thought it was overkill. And it was so funny because I was like, I have so many diapers, right? I have more diapers than I know what to do with, right? Well, that was a lie. Like, I did not know how many you go through in a day because you might go through 3 in a matter of 30 seconds. Depending on what you think is done and not done.
And they're not cheap either.
And you're like, oh, that's a waste, that's a waste, that's a waste, that's a waste. And you're going through them like
oh,
crazy.
You're not done yet. You're still going.
Crazy.
Okay.
I will say that once this is all over, I'm going to take the, Katie got a wipes warmer, right? There's like baby wipes. It warms up the baby wipes. I am going to go punt that somewhere because there is nothing more frustrating, Dane, when your hands are full, you're changing a crying baby, and you reach over to grab the wipes, right? And you got to pull the thing, and then the rest fall down underneath the. You know what I'm talking about? It's like a tissue box, right? You got to pull tissue, and the rest fall down. So you stick your hand in there. And the next one
isn't ready. It's just
and you can't grab it. So then you're trying to open this lid, and the lid's not opening, and you're like, this freaking thing, and you're trying not to get frustrated because the baby can pick up on that. And I'm like, you know what? After this is all done, I'm going to take this wipes warmer, right? And I am going to punt it, find it, and smash it. The sledgehammer, right? Because this is that frustrating. But other than that, though,
I just realized that's probably why those baby pictures are so expensive. It's paying all the cleanup crews afterwards.
So no, but really, Dane, I mean, I'm just saying, I think you can make an absolute killing there. I kind of walked by one of the tables there, and there were some kind of paid invoices. I wasn't trying to be too snoopy, but I kind of saw the numbers there, and I go, that in that couple weeks, it looks like that's a year's salary right there
for some folks.
That is impressive.
Now, granted, is this like a one-person operation? They have a studio they pay rent on. They have supplies, and they have backdrops
and all that. Yeah,
that stuff's not cheap. We understand that, but it's kind of like the cost is built in, but you've paid it off long since, and you're just kind of reaping the rewards afterwards.
It's like it's camera gear. I'm sure it's a lot of time and editing too. Because the thing is,
that's true.
You bring them a baby that has like peeling skin, or you bring them a baby who, may have some sores on her eyes or things like that, and they straight up they edit everything. They make it
please smooth out my baby.
Yeah, perfect. But let's see.
Decon.
Oh my gosh, Decon detailing coming out with Anthony McKees versus ONR for rinseless wash on the baby. LOL. Man. That's so funny. I don't know. Probably ONR because it actually cleans. Oh, did I say that?
Oh,
I'm
no.
Kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, spicy.
They're both good. I'm trying to think of if there's anything else. I'm sorry. I'm trying to recap everything that kind of went on. There was nothing super, super exciting. There was no emergencies or anything like that. Everything went really good. It seems more chaotic in my head, but really it's me sitting on a couch, hearing a baby screaming, running to grab it.
It's more of your nerves just kicking in and worst case scenario stuff kicking in at every moment that you have any kind of triggering response. Yeah.
But Katie's dad came into town, which is nice. So he was able to come hang out, and he was here for yesterday, which is for Halloween. So you guys remember the story last year, Halloween, where I got dressed up as a hot dog, and I was out in my front yard by myself because everybody left me. So I was next to a giant blazing bonfire in a hot dog outfit, and people were wondering where my friends were.
Looks
and,
a little.
And my wife was on
sad,
a trip in Mexico. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just by myself here as a hot dog. Sucks. So I tried to go hot dog round 2 this year. This time with rollerblades.
Ooh, rollerblading hot dog.
So we moved everything out to the front yard, had another little bonfire, set up some chairs. We brought the baby out, dressed her as a little bear. She looked really cute. I forgot to send pictures, but she looked very precious. And we passed out candy. Katie's dad was feeling extra generous because he had told him that last year was pretty dead in terms of trick-or-treaters. So he went out and bought full-size candy bars.
Oh, overcompensating.
I never thought I'd be the house with full-size candy bars.
Wow.
But last night we were. And we went through, I think, like 3 boxes. So it was like 120 bars we went through. But we still have 1 box left. It's dangerous. Get it out of my house.
Oh, no.
I don't want it. But yeah, just a good Halloween. I mean, we watched some more scary movies. We hung out. I rollerbladed around. The neighborhood kids loved it. They're like, it's a rollerblading hot dog. And I said,
you're like one engine removed from being the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
It's a rollerblading hot dog. It is a rollerblading hot dog. And they loved that, and it was just a good night. Yeah, I mean, everything went smoothly, and so it was just a lot of it's kind of getting prepped for coming back to work because we're not going to have help forever, and Katie's going to have to be on her own, staying at home during the day, and so I want to make sure that she's good in every way possible.
We know you could leave at a moment's notice. If something you get a call, anything like that, you're able to just bounce out of here.
I know, and so I'm very fortunate for that because it would
not every job does that.
Not everybody can do that, and it's just. How do I say it? It's just crazy. I don't know. It's crazy because I raised a puppy, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this puppy, it's gonna bark and cry at night for a couple weeks or maybe a month, but then it's gonna start being pretty good, right? And I'm like, okay, I got a newborn baby, couple weeks, gonna cry, and everybody's like, oh yeah, it's gonna keep going. And
then you'll have a new phase where suddenly it starts stabbing your couch.
Yeah.
Just can't wait to see the look on Anthony's face when something happens to his Evo. Well, I could just see something.
Yeah. I do want to give a shout to the people who had twins or things like that, or even having. I guess everybody says the second baby a little bit easier because you know what you're doing, right? And
you had some practice under your belt now.
Some practice.
You kind of get it.
Probably a little bit easier, but for the people that have twins, like I don't know,
right off the bat.
I don't know how the heck that would be crazy, and. I don't know what else to say. It's just everything's a little bit more chaotic in a household when there's a baby crying, right? Sure. Everything can feel more stressful. Like you could literally be folding laundry and you're like, oh my God, the house is on fire, right? Watering your lawn, the house is on fire. The baby's crying.
The baby's on fire. Oh,
the baby's on fire. No. So, but yeah, it's really cool. So I'm really happy. We're just can't wait to get a full night's sleep will be pretty crazy because I remember I think it was like that Thursday night or that Wednesday night I told myself like this is probably the last full night's sleep I'm going to have, better enjoy it. But now I know what I'm capable of in terms of running on little to no sleep and being able to keep going. So
what was it last week we talked to you on the phone and you could just hear it in your voice. We're all like, oh yeah, he's hurting. You can hear it. Just something in the way you were speaking sounded like almost like a zombie.
Yeah.
Like you weren't upset, you weren't mad or anything. You could hear like the life force had been sucked out of you a bit, and you were just kind of running on fumes.
Yeah.
So I seem good today, though.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty good today. I don't know. I think I asked Katie. I said, when do you want to start thinking about another baby? And she's like, I don't want to think about another baby right now. And I said, okay. I'm just saying, like because. You're
afraid of having 2 kids whose like ages are so desperate that they can't relate to one another.
Well,
or something.
I liked me and my sister were 3 years apart, right? Mm-hmm. And she was my friend, right?
That's my brother and I. 3 years, yeah.
And it's fun. I liked having a sibling very much, and so I know that I don't know. I think it would be fun, and
I look at it when 2 siblings are like a little like too close in age, like separated by say like a year and a half or less, there's more of a competitive nature that happens because they're similar enough that they feel like they're fighting over the same stuff and it turns into a zero-sum game. Whereas when you have some distance there, like 3 years or something, I find my brother and I are very different people. Even though people look and they're like, oh, I can see the resemblance. It's like, no, we turned out very different, but in a positive way. I think we both have our own, pluses and minuses. I'm sure you feel the same way with your siblings. But yeah, no, having a little distance isn't a bad thing. It offers some different perspective for people.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. That's obviously be much further down the road. But you're right though, because my brother and me are 7 years apart. And I look at him like a baby. Like I still look at him.
That's a lot of distance.
He's my baby brother, and I'm very protective over him, and I'm always I worry about him. But my sister is 3 years apart. I see her more closer to me.
You can relate, but you probably didn't feel like you were battling it out. Over
never
stuff because you were living different lives at each stage.
Yeah. So we'll see. See what happens down the road. But in the meantime, we have our hands full. Plenty. We have our hands very, very full, and we'll go from there. But yeah, I'm excited to get back. I'm happy to be back here today because it's nice. It's just nice being in a different environment, standing, moving,
something different,
a little more activity going on.
Well, I just got that 360 cam. You want to go shoot some stuff, mess around with it a little bit?
I think so.
See what we can.
I think we'll go finagle with that. And apparently we have 2 go-karts here now at the Rad Company studio. Have they seen those yet?
I don't know if they've seen those. They might have posted them on the Insta stories.
So Sydney dropped these off, and what are these? They're like little Mario Kart.
They're like little Mario Kart. They're like Power Wheels, but they're little Mario Kart like Formula style cars with like wings on them and like a narrow fuselage kind of thing. But they sound like they're going 1,000,000 miles an hour when they're going like 5.
They 7, Dane. Apparently 7.
Okay, wow. I mean, 7's pretty quick.
When you're that low to the ground,
I imagine 7 isn't going to be the top speed when I'm sitting in it.
Yeah. But so we have those, which has been pretty fun. And I don't think I missed out on much the last couple of weeks. Anything crazy?
It's been quiet around here as a result of you not being around, making things chaotic. But at the same time, we missed
Where's the Nerf guns and tech decks?
There's a distinct lack of everything is a half pipe if you got a tech deck, just all the time. But it's been good. And Kirby Thompson here popping in.
Thank you.
Glad to see you in the studio, Anthony.
I'm glad to be back. I'm excited because I think that I talked to Levi and we have some cool big changes, new exciting things coming here to the Rad Company here in the future, and a lot of behind the scenes stuff getting worked on, which is super cool. Keep that going. I want to give, if any of our Grand Ambassadors are listening for Q4, I want to give a shout out and say thank you for being patient while I've been kind of gone and away for the past couple weeks, and I'll try to get to be more involved because it was just bad timing, right? We announced the Grand Ambassadors and I said, all right, gotta go. They're like, hey.
The Grand Ambassadors were my baby, but now I have an actual baby.
What's
so
the plan?
I kind of gotta.
I'm like, I don't know what the plan is. I'm like, you're gonna ask me here in a little bit.
The groups are lively though. I've been kind of popping in and checking on them, and
that's good.
They keep things going. It's fun.
And and I've been still posting on Instagram. Or I kind of had like a predetermined schedule on what I was going to post in terms of pictures. But I'm gonna try to be back to being more hands on now. I'm happy to be back at work. I love my job, and so I just like working here. I like the people I work with. So it was nothing but something to look forward to. It wasn't a negative thing because everybody at home. Are you upset you have to go back to work? I'm like, well, I'm going to miss my daughter. I'm going to miss my wife. I'm going to miss, being home and being around. But other than that. But I also really like my job. And I can't wait to go back and crack some jokes and have some fun, shoot some content. And so with some stuff coming up here with SEMA, hopefully we'll have some cool live stuff going on down there. So Nate's going to be shooting most of the content with Levi. So a lot of live videos, hopefully soon. Just keep a lookout on Facebook. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're going to be jumping on YouTube. Do you know at all?
We'll talk to them this afternoon and kind of see what they're up to. We can get a better idea of what they're going to do. Because, with Nate down there, that fortunately opens up the possibilities. It's not normally him doing this stuff, so I want to make sure that he's still able to do it.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's all I got. So I got Dane.
Really
did you do anything this weekend?
I mean, I pretty much talked about the movie. That was the extent of the stuff. I also enjoyed for Halloween. Really, my neighborhood. I'm like far enough into the neighborhood that most people aren't going on it because it's not a main drag like some of the other parts of the neighborhood. I got like maybe 5 or 6 trick-or-treaters last night. And I was giving out sun chips.
Oh, wow.
Because when I went to Costco and I went looking for candy, they had
toothpaste. Awesome.
When I went to Costco, they had Reese's Pieces and M&Ms and like candies and stuff, but they were in jars and they're all just all together in one thing. Yeah. There's no individual wrappers. There's nothing like that. And parents get a little like, I don't know about that when they see like loose candy, kind of stuff. It doesn't look. Get your grubby paws in there. I know the whole thing just seemed off. So I'm like, well, bags of chips. At least it's something different. Parents won't be mad that I'm giving them not healthy, but just not candy. So here you go.
Yeah,
and they were actually cool with it. They were kind of happy about it. They're like, oh, something different.
Yeah.
So it worked.
Sun chips.
I know.
My favorite, Harvest Cheddar. I can't wait. Thank you, Humberto. That's actually pretty cool. Ulysses says he works for Procter & Gamble in Northern Utah. That is very interesting.
Yeah. That is interesting.
He's my hookup. He's my plug.
Well, yeah. Now you got to become best friends so that you can get that.
People are gonna be like, so who's your who's your source? What do you get for deals nowadays? And I said, man, I got a Loves and Pampers guy. I'm like, he gets me in.
Ulysses, you're his man on the inside.
Yeah, I will say the frustrating part about changing a diaper is there's little Velcro things, little tabs, right? Some of the times, so you have colored tabs that are blue.
I always imagine those tear
yellow.
Easily.
No, they don't. No.
Okay.
You can strap those things down. But what's the worst is when you have the clear tabs. Because when it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you're putting a diaper under a baby, and you're like, oh, this is backwards. Oh, I got to flip this thing around. And then you go to pull the tab, and the tab is like glued on. So you go to yank it, and too much strength. It's yeah. I would say that there's already a couple things where if I was a marketing guy for...
You can always see the opportunities. You're like, I would do this so differently.
I see a lot of opportunities. Yeah. I think about like product ideas and I'm like, how do I pitch this to the rag company? I'm like, microfiber something.
You're going to Shark Tank this.
So, yeah, I know.
Well, I think that was good. That was informative. Gave people a chance to kind of catch up with how things have been for you while you've been gone these last couple of weeks. Yeah. Feels like it's been years almost.
Well, and it also paves the way so we can talk about SEMA next week, right? Because I want to hear the stories from the guys and hear how everything went. And I thought, well, let's get my hour out of the way and talk about kind of everything that was going through and be off on our way. So the plan is that I should be back here. Today's my first day of seeing how Katie does, and then probably do a couple half days here in between here, just see where I can help and what's going to be the best for her, and then hopefully be back here, all the time, and then be able to lay down the law and burn through some more paint with an eraser wheel. Take that eraser wheel and I'm like, Dane, you like pinstripes?
I still got to remove the rest of those things.
Honestly, if you guys watch the video, I don't know how the heck that happened, man. That guy was it was
you buzzed it for like 3-4 seconds max, not even that long.
But I wasn't even the wheel spinning. I didn't even get it up to speed because the first couple seconds were me finding the right speed without even necessarily getting it onto the paint and going at it. It was just me being like, okay, that's about right, and then I press 1, 2, pull off, and I go, oh my God.
Well, and we had talked to you.
There's no way.
We had talked to you prior about make sure you don't go somewhere Ulex has been, and you didn't. As far as I know, where you went, the Ulex had already been wiped off.
It should have been wiped. Well, that was from the start. So that I was thinking, I'm like, okay, it shouldn't be soft anymore. It should have shrunken up a little bit, but it must have still been pretty soft.
And your first instinct is what I would have thought, which is if I were the one buzzing the eraser wheel on there, I would have thought, oh, it's just smearing this adhesive around. It's just getting all over.
That's what I thought.
And then Levi comes over and gives you the bad news, and he looks and goes, Yeah, that's not the adhesive. That's
Well, because there was
that just went straight through, and you're like, oh,
well,
ow!
whatever clear coat and adhesive and all of that, we were wiping the Ulex. Everything was starting to yellow. And we were like, why is this yellowing like this? And
those stripes are so crusty.
It was, they were pretty gross. So, do you have a plan? When's it getting wrapped? When's it getting painted?
I don't have a timeline for when it gets wrapped, but I talked to the guys, and they're stoked. They really like
the
idea.
Okay.
Yeah. They want to do it. They're gonna think of some different ideas of how they could take my idea and maybe tweak it a little to make it, fit some stuff better. Just some like little pinch, move this here, move that there, just to make like the things line up the way they think they can do it best for wrapping. But they think my idea was basically spot on for how they would do it anyway. They just think of maybe do the top, the part that sticks up, make that black instead of white.
Okay, yeah.
So it just kind of matches the windows and stuff over. And just the visual height is lowered a little bit that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, just little things. So
cost-wise, pretty expensive? Or do they
no idea what the cost will be yet.
Okay.
But I'm open to it because I think that's going to be what makes it something I want to keep for a long time. It's just having that
How is
fun.
it? It's running smooth, right?
It's running good. I actually just dropped it off at Toy Sport Automotive.
Okay.
One-man band shop. But he's great. He's going to start looking at it this week. Basically, the one thing I kind of have iffy on the van is like belts and pulleys sound a little squeaky.
Yeah.
It's normal for an older vehicle. And it's kind of like, not an agricultural engine, but it's like, it's an engine that was designed in the early 80s, and they just kind of kept updating it. Mm-hmm. It's fuel injected. It's not carbureted or anything. But it's just one of those ones where it just sounds a little clunky. But that's just how it is. So I was just asking him, can you please take a look at it? Tell me if I need to change out any of these things. And if you have the parts, could you do it? Because I thought I was going to be at SEMA. Mm-hmm. So I gave him the van for the week, essentially, is how I scheduled it out. So he's just going to be sitting on it for the week, figuring some stuff out. He's also going to be figuring out a lift kit for me, which should be cool. And maybe some other little things, possibly a snorkel or something, because, it's actually pretty... It's not easy to do because you do have to cut body work to do it on it, but the airbox is like right there by the door. So if you do cut through, it's just a straight shot, and then you run a snorkel up. And then the reason I would consider that is because the factory location of the air intake and all that stuff are under the van. It's like, you get air there, but they kind of historically have not the best time with, getting air in there. So if you have an easier location to draw air in from, it'd probably actually do better, and it would generate less heat as a result.
Take that thing on a safari.
And the side effect is I could totally ford some water with that thing. So it could be fun. Anyway, that's just what I'm messing around with thinking there.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. And the update on the truck is they're having some difficulty matching the color on those wheels, so they're still trying to get that figured out. But I told them they could have it for a few more days. What truck? The Ford, the F-350. Oh, you didn't hear about how I curbed that wheel, did you?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
That was a nightmare. No. I explained this on the last podcast. It was an absolute nightmare scenario.
This.
It's so bad.
No,
it's so bad.
You have to tell me, because this is my genuine
I was dying. Like, Anthony hasn't heard this. I thought
that's
for sure.
That's a $6,000 wheel.
It's expensive. It's a very expensive wheel. Yeah. So not cool. And of course they're satin finish. So like
they are satin.
Everything shows. And if you scrape it, it's silver underneath. So it's just like, hello, look at this aluminum color.
So was it a front and a rear?
It was a front passenger side. Yeah, I know. The rears. They don't get curbed because the tire sticks out enough. You don't have to worry about it.
Then,
Not that I'm putting it in situations where I'm going to curb it, but there have been times where I got a little close because it's literally so huge I had no option but to.
Yeah.
But in this case, this is what pissed me off. It was a morning coming to work, and I was leaving the house early because I wanted to go drop off some stuff drop off some mail on my way to work. And so I was going to the Meridian Post Office. And at the Meridian Post Office, they have that little lane.
The worst.
I knew something would happen if I drove in the lane. So I said, I'm not going to drive in the lane. I'm going to park street side, and then I'm going to get out and go and put mail in the box.
I know what you're talking about.
But if you know this area, then you also know the street has a bit of an incline, and the
Yep, it
curb
does.
sticks out like a triangle of death.
It goes like this. It goes like this downward.
Here's what happened. I was driving. I was turning the corner. I was coming up. I'm like, oh, I'll just pull into one of these parallel parking spots. And as I'm pulling up, I've been so good. The thing's got a 360 camera. I can tell where everything is at all times.
Yeah.
I've been very, very competent at driving this thing. And I have a good driving record to prove it.
Yeah.
But when I got near the curb, I was just starting to get close, and I was like, all right, I'm just, going to stay away, but I'm close enough. I don't want to stick out into traffic because people got to drive by. And that's when I ran over like a water bottle or something. Something was in the gutter there that I drove over. It popped. It made the whole truck shake. It sounded so violent, I thought I popped a tire. Freaked me out. And in that moment, that little jolt, turned the wheel just a little bit, and I like blacked out for a millisecond. And when I came to again, I felt myself riding the curb, and I was just, and I turned back.
Those are your death curbs. That curb is like that high.
It is so
insanely high.
It's so bad. And so I was having like heart palpitations. I was so freaked out because I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
All this time, I've been treating this truck with the utmost care. I've been babying this thing. It's been in perfect shape. I have not hurt it in any way whatsoever. And now that it's coming time where I'm thinking about selling it, the thing I do is I curve the wheel, which, of course, to any buyer, they're going to look and they're going to go, well, if he did that, what else did he do to it? They think immediately like abusive owner. It's like, that's not the case at all.
Okay, so how bad was the curb?
So obviously, the curb is nasty.
How bad
but
was
I
that?
reacted so quickly, it didn't have a chance to go very far around.
Okay.
It ended up being this long.
Okay.
So, but remember, in a 26-inch wheel, it doesn't look that big.
Yeah.
But when you see it in person, it's big enough. It's a little shorter than this microphone is.
So did it hit one of the areas that said American Force on it?
No, it hit like an open area from what I could tell. So thank goodness.
God.
That's good. No, I lucked out there.
I don't know how they're gonna.
And the grind, like some parts of it were in deep where it didn't change the shape of the wheel, but it was enough that you could just like feel the metal shavings and stuff. You're like, oh my God. It was my heart sank. Like, it was the worst I felt in a long time, just because nobody ever wants to feel like they did that. But some people care less. I care too much about that kind of thing. But at the same time, I want to get my money's worth out of the truck, and that's not helping.
Yeah.
So I took it down to Hubcap Annie. It's over at Hubcap Annie's. They told me they'd fix it for about $300. So I'm going to get that thing fixed. And it's cosmetic. The wheel was not bent. It was not molded in any way. It's literally just surface level, scrape.
It's just the color.
When you see it, it's just like, ugh. But if they can get that to match it, no one will ever know or care because it doesn't affect the driving experience one bit. Yeah. And once again, if I was going to keep that truck long term, I would do the one thing that other people might get upset about that kind of truck where they go, oh, it's a big show truck. I would get smaller wheels and bigger tires. That would have been my move from the very beginning because I'm just not that guy, but I also like having some sidewall to protect against that kind of stuff. Having more than the sidewall that's on there would have made all the difference in the world, and I just didn't have that opportunity. So that's the unfortunate story, but I'm glad you got to find out now. I had no idea. I hadn't told you yet, so sorry about that.
Dang.
I think they deliberately told me not to tell you because they knew you would absolutely lose your mind.
It's okay.
But at the same time, I kind of felt the same way. So that pretty much wraps up this whole thing. Yeah. So, now we have that.
Dang.
Figured out.
Dang.
But so drove the Dragon to work and went over the dirt hump. You enjoy driving over the big dirt hump at the entry of the parking lot? That's been a joy to deal with every single time. I take it at
burns
the most narrow angle I can. It's ridiculous.
It's the worst. But
anyway, that's been our fun.
Well,
so welcome back.
Yeah, thank
Glad to have you here. We missed you. And I think we're going to have a fun week. It's going to be Anthony and I doing the Q&A this week.
Yep.
And, should be a good time over not only on this channel, but also on the Rag Company main channel. We're going to go shoot some videos now this afternoon. I think we're going to, play around with the new camera, try that out. So it should be fun.
All right, so take it away, Dane.
All right. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. If it's sometime in the future and you're not subscribed to our channels, please make sure you do so. It helps us out. And make sure you click like. It lets other people know that this video doesn't suck. It's actually a good time. Enjoyed yourself. But as always, thank you, and we'll catch you later this week for Q&A Thursday. See ya.
See ya.